As a leader, you should have one-on-one meetings with your direct reports regularly. But how do you introduce one-on-ones to your direct reports? How does such a one-on-one meeting work? How do you get started? And what exactly should you say in such meetings? I'll answer all of that in this video. Stay tuned. For more leadership advice, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. During my time as a manager, I had lots of meetings with my direct reports. However, from today's point of view, I should have conducted one-on-one meetings more frequently, much more frequently, and especially regularly. Over time, I realized how valuable this management tool, the one-on-one meetings, is, and how important it is to build trust with your direct reports. When I talk to executives about these one-on-ones, I often hear, I know that I should regularly take the time to talk to each of my direct reports, but I don't have time for that. There's always so much to do. Well, if the one-on-ones are important to you, I mean really important, then you should find the time to talk to each of your direct reports at least 20 minutes every week or at least every 14 days. Of course, this is easier said than done, but in the long run, believe me, these conversations will bring you an incredible return on investment. They save you a lot of time and they save you a lot of money. If you do it right, you will get motivated people. People who will think along similar lines and pull in the same direction along with you. These one-on-ones, they will help you to get to know your employees better and better. But most important here, you build trust. Trust which makes it easier for you to delegate tasks. If you have one-on-ones regularly, you will become much better at understanding what's going on with your employee and how you can support them. Okay, and what do I have to consider for these one-on-one meetings? Well, first, it's a conversation between two people. If possible, these conversations should take place in a quiet, relaxed environment that can, but doesn't have to be in the office. You can also have such a conversation during a walk together, so to say a meeting on the go. Second, focus on your direct report. It's so important that you are focused on the matter and only concentrate on your employee. No distraction. Avoid interruption of any kind. And in such a one-on-one meeting, it's clear that your smartphone is switched off. Shh! I don't have to point that out, do I? Third, a one-on-one is an employee meeting. Why is it called like that? That's because the employee talks more than the boss. It's mainly the time of the employee spending with his manager, not the other way around. Well, but how do I start such a conversation and what should I talk about? Okay, let's focus about the rough process of one-on-one meetings first. Each one-on-one is different. They are unique because people are unique. But nevertheless, especially if you have just officially started a regular one-on-one meetings, it might be beneficial to provide a rough framework. For simplicity, let's assume we have 30 minutes for a one-on-one. You can then divide these 30-minute one-on-ones into 3 10-minute parts. For example, part 1, employees time only. In that part, you start the conversation with a question and then you just listen. This is the time when your direct report wants to discuss matters or gives you information that are important to him or her. They want to know that this is the time where you just listen. Part 2. The manager addresses issues such as giving feedback, for instance. You can also inform about goals or talk about organizational changes and hear your employees' opinion on strategy or anything else. And part 3, that's about the future. What is in store for the next few days? What are your plans? What are her or his plans? If you've agreed on actions to be carried out in part 1 or 2, then you can briefly summarize them at the end of the one-on-one meeting. As I said before, these 3 parts are just a rough framework, a kind of guideline, if you want. A guideline that can be helpful to you, especially when you start one-on-one meetings with your direct reports, and if you haven't done it before. The meetings don't necessarily have to be 30 minutes. Start with 50 minutes or 20 minutes. The individual parts can also be of different length. If the employee has many things to discuss, just talk about them and skip the other parts. That's okay. The key is just start with one-on-ones. And very important, do one-on-ones regularly. And I mean weekly or at least bi-weekly. I feel stupid about it. I don't know how to start the conversation. What should I talk about? Good question. I've put together a free checklist for one-on-one meetings with examples and tips how to conduct one-on-one meetings. You'll find the link to the free download in the YouTube description and in the comments. If you introduce one-on-ones, you may feel uncomfortable at the beginning. That's normal. The situation may seem strange to you. What does the employee think about me when I suddenly start with such personal one-on-one meetings? Just hang in there. It's worth. You can easily start a one-on-one by asking open questions. Open questions like, John, how is it going? How are you doing? Or, John, what's your biggest challenge? Your biggest challenge right now? You may also ask, is there anything I can currently support you with? If these questions don't lead to anything, you can also ask about current developments in the company. For example, John, what do you think of our recent organizational change? What's your take on that? All the questions are used to break the ice and start a conversation with your employee. Get involved, be interested in her or his opinion, and ask. You can also ask questions like, where did you feel friction in the last week? Were there specific meetings or situations where we as a team can improve? Or another question could be, you know that we strive in our company for customer satisfaction, but I also know that some of our rules and customer processes are not ideal at all. I'm interested in your opinion. Where do we need to improve? What needs to change in your opinion? Of course, you could also ask your employee, I'm interested, what feedback do you have for me? Where can I as a manager improve? For example, what do you want me to do more and what should I do less? But always keep in mind that's your job to start with such open questions. After that, that's important, you listen actively. You can ask if you don't understand something, but you listen carefully. If you are introducing one-on-ones, explain to your employees why you are doing it. What are the talks roughly be about, and what advantages does your employee have or gain from it if you start these kind of one-on-ones? Do you know what most employees consider the greatest advantage of such kind of meetings, one-on-ones? It's the undisturbed, undivided time they can spend with their manager. Your employees, they know very well that you are always under time pressure. So if you take your time and spend them with them, that shows appreciation. I, the employee, am important to my boss because otherwise he wouldn't spend regularly time with me, right? By the way, if thinking about starting one-on-one still makes you feel uncomfortable, just talk about it. It's not weakness, but strength when you talk about that kind of feeling. For example, you can say to your employee when you start the one-on-ones the following. John, I'd like to conduct one-on-one meetings with each of my direct reports on a regular basis. This is very important to me because I believe that if we spend more time together, we will understand each other better and I can support you much better in your work. So to be honest, right now, starting with the one-on-ones, that still feels a bit unusual or even awkward to me. But I strongly believe it's important to start with it, and it will help us to improve working together. So how's it going with you? Is there something I can currently support you with? By conducting one-on-ones, you offer your employees a forum to exchange ideas with you. Of course, your employees also want to hear your opinion, but it's particularly important that your employees can share their thoughts and issues with you and that you are interested in it. Therefore, one-on-one meetings are not about you, they are about your employees. Be sincerely interested in them, in your employees, in the job they do, and in their personality. I promise that one-on-ones will be a game changer in your leadership if you start with them. They pay off in the long term for everyone involved. I've put together a checklist for one-on-one meetings. You can download this checklist for free. You'll find the link to that in the YouTube description and in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you soon.